All right, family, greetings. Welcome to another edition of Baba TV Every Time Fire. And I kind of want to take my time with this intro here. I have this mighty elder before me, and I get shaky whenever I have brothers like this, elders and Babas like this on my channel. I'll try to be very careful and not make any mistakes, even though I'm only human. Brother, I want to start first with Brother Nova. I met this brother on 125th Street with an elder that I love very dearly, Dr. Felder, who has made his transcendence. And I saw Brother Nova as someone very dedicated on 125th Street with his father, disseminating books and information. And I haven't been there in a while, and I did not know that how fast he has grown. If you would just give me a few minutes to read this. Nana Asare, aka Nova Felder, co-director in education and interim head of operations of Baba Incorporated, Bridging Africans and Black Americans Incorporated, NYC. Inquasahini.
You almost got it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get it because we know how to speak Spanish and all that other stuff. So we ought to be able to get our
Professor got it.
Yeah, Inquasahini, which means leader on development of education, the kingdom of Kwamu, which is the eastern region of Ghana. Founder of Africa is the Future Innovation Group, Ghana, New York. Nova Felder is a lifelong student organizer and activist in a global African community. He has worked as a teacher, organizer, and social entrepreneur in his native NYC. With Baba Incorporated, he continues his mission as co-director of education with a hands-on approach by delivering programming that educates his community about their history and culture and its importance moving the global African family forward. Brother Nova, I know you went to the continent and was over there for a while, but I talked to my neighbor, Brother Eche, who's from that eastern region today, and he said, Baba, you have to come to Ghana. You have to come with me to Ghana. So I'm going to get my stuff, and I'm going to go. He said, you know, when I go over there, I handle my business every day. He said, I don't cook, I don't clean, I don't wash clothes. He said, I enjoy my life. I said, you don't do none of that? He said, no, I'm a king. He said, I don't have to do any of that when I'm home. He said, I go and I conduct my business, and that's that. Brother Nova, I love you dearly. You know, you and your father. Yes. Tell a little couple of stories. He used to stay on me if I used to be on 125. I go walk over by his car. He said, Baba, what are you doing over there by my car? Come over here. I go over by his chair. Baba, what are you doing over there by my chair? Come over here. Get from over there.
Yes, and, like that.
Yes, sir. Now, my next Baba that I would like to bring on, something that is in my heart and my mind that I just got to let out, and that is those of us who are younger, and that's me. I'm just a young 53, that all we got to do is pick up a book or drink from their wisdom. Have no idea the amount of stuff that our elders, including this brother, Dr. Jeffries, Melchizedek, had to go through a literal hell. Professor Smalls being and ended up being, I believe, in the organization of Afro-American Unity, started by Malcolm X, and ended up being an imam, the imam there when our brother got assassinated. I imagine having to duck all kind of pressure and probably maybe bullets too, then had to go on with our sister Asada Shakur and the Black Panther Party on the New Jersey Turnpike, ducking some more bullets. How he's here today to be able to bring the message to us. I have never heard an elder, when I heard him speak on voodoo, I had never heard an elder be able to tie Dogon, the Ghanaian spiritual system, and the Kemetic and make it one spiritual system. With that being said, family, thank you very much, Professor Smalls, Baba Smalls, Baba Asare. Thank you very much for coming on Baba TV. My name is David. Baba TV represents all of the brothers and sisters that have came on my channel, started in Harlem. Make no mistake about it. Red Pill, Blue Pill, Melchizedek, Sinetta, and all of our family that have contribute and built Baba TV up. Every time fire is the irrefutable, indisputable facts, proof, and evidence, and the truth. My name is David. I'm just the reporter. I go along and gather the information from DC, and I don't want to forget about my elders, Brother Tahuti, Rafu, and so many others in Washington, DC. All I do is go about the clovers like the little bumblebee and take all the honey and come and bring it back on my channel. But make no mistake about it that the Babas are the ones that you see right before you today. With that being said, I'm going to shut my mouth and let the teachers teach.
Well, let me start off by saying thank you, Baba. This was on short notice, and you accommodated us because we're here today to commemorate and raise up the spirit of our new ancestor that many of you here on YouTube following us see behind Baba wearing the happy hat. His name was Ronell Rock Barber. There we go. He's the founder of the Kemetic Science of Prosperity, Men and Women of Respect, Inc. And the Kemetic Science of Prosperity, as Professor will elucidate in a moment on, was the beginnings of the happy movement, where we deal with the socio-economic and cultural nature of African people and using our culture to fuel our economic reality today. And that happy movement is led by Brother Taki, Professor Smalls, and many others that are pushing that agenda, our history, our culture, our civic and social societies, by education, by documentaries, by workshops, and many other avenues where we have to get ourselves educated on. Right before we came on, Professor Smalls was telling us the importance of us being able to be reading, right? And how that takes us to another level. We're going to be in a movement, we have to read. And so speaking of reading reminds me of Brother Rock. When I first met him, I was about maybe 7 or 8 years old back in the 80s. And he was working the general manager of a bookstore called Almond Ride Isis Bookstore that was in the village of Harlem in the Mart 125, where me and Brother Baba first met, where we set up now on weekends and sell books and tapes and history and culture to our people. So Brother Rock was there, and I remember him when I was a little boy, very big. At that time, I was small. You know, he was a grown man, maybe 18, 19 years old at that time. And he was just a strong spirit, strong brother, loving soul ever since then. We fast forward to the 2000s. I had just finished college, and my dad was retired, and we were out there. I was helping my dad selling books, and me and Rock just had a natural kinship because him and my father had a beautiful friendship that they had developed over the last 20 years. And he used to always say, Dr. Felder, my favorite elder. So over time, me and Rock eventually became business partners. And Baba, I think that's the time you started coming around. We had about 5 or 6 racks of DVDs, everything from spirituality, science, history, sexual relations, anything you can think of. And the basis was we used his men and women of respect, which was paying homage to Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Professor James Smalls, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, and Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Joseph Ben Yakinen, first with the CDs, then we evolved that into DVDs. So he's recently passed away, and we are commemorating him this evening by speaking to Solid as a Rock, because that was his name and that's what he stood as. And we're going to speak to the importance of economics, the importance of our history and culture, and also that street consciousness that I've been a part of since my mid 20s, being out there just like the street speakers in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s in Harlem, continuing that tradition, because rock could definitely speak and spit that power and educated a lot of black people on their history, their culture, and most of all, their economic reality, with, especially with Rockonomics. Y'all saw the shirt, pushing his Telegram group, Bitcoins and Blessings, and always a kind ear, always a strong heart, and always protective. I was his little brother, still am, and just love the brother. And that's what we're here to talk about today, his importance to that movement and what we built there. And Professor will give clarity on his 30 plus year history with Ronell Rock Barber, who I'm starting to call Nana Kofi, Friday born, a king born on a Friday, because of the energy and love that he brought to me and to our people here in New York City and across the globe. We love you, Brother Rock. I hand it off to Professor Smalls.
Yes, sir. Brother Nova. I want to thank Baba for having us on the show, and as Nova said, in such close notice, because when we lose one of the young kings, as quickly as we lost Brother Rock, we've got to be able to make sure the family can take care of business. We've got to make sure he has a funeral. He's got 2 boys, 2 kids. We got to make sure them kids is taken care of. You know, we got to make sure there's no burden on his family to do this funeral. And so we put together a telegraph and we've put together a GoFundMe to raise the revenues to make sure we can do those things. And that's quite in the African tradition. If you were in Ghana right now and somebody died, because me and Rock used to love to go to funerals. We actually went to Ghana to hang out at funerals sometimes. People thought that was the craziest thing. But the funerals in Ghana are some of the biggest party in the countries, right? Mm-hmm. And what that party is about is to raise the funds to handle the funeral so that burden isn't on the family. They don't have insurance and stuff like we have here. So you see people out there drumming, the streets will be blocked off, they'll be drumming, they'll be dancing, they'll be playing music, people will be dancing, singing, people will bring in on their head cases of beer for the public, cases of water. People will be bringing some higher spirits, and there'll be a big basin there. And everybody will put something in that basin. And at the end of the day, the funeral cost is covered because the community came forward and took care of their business, because one of them fell, you know, and it becomes, when he walked out of his house in the morning, yes, he was doing things to food, clothe, and feed his family, but he was serving the community, you know. He could have gone into the industry in a different way. He graduates from Hunter College. I met him when he was a college student, but he served the Black community every day.
Every day.
You know, and he learned to let that make a living for him to a great degree. So it is our duty to make sure this family don't have no burden as they go through this very sorrowful time of getting that body home from the hospital, because he died at home in his apartment, getting the necessary things to funeralize him in place, making sure we help the family to get all of the legal pieces together to make sure the kids get the Social Security and the things that's due them, and any other assistance we can give them through the GoFundMe and the Telegraph would be grateful, because one of his kids was in college down at Bowie College down in the DC area. And so it's important. We're not begging for anything. We're telling the community to step up with us so that we all meet our responsibility to one of our comrades that have fallen on the battlefield. You know, like the Europeans said, no man left behind.
No.
We say the same thing.
Yes.
No man left behind. If somebody fall, we got to take care of his family and him. That's African tradition.
Yes.
And so that's what we're here to talk about, this extraordinary young man. Nova was talking about the different organizations he founded. Him and I, when Dr. Jeffries and me and about 80 other elders put our dockets together and bought a hotel in Africa. That was step one. But somebody had to go there and open it. Somebody had to see that it was painted and carpentry work and plumbing, and it got fixed up. And for 15 years, me and this brother went back and forth 2-3 times a year, sometimes staying in Africa up to 3 months at a time to get this work done on the Sana Lodge. No salary. Neither of us got any salary for doing that. We were trying to create a project, a bridge between the African American community and the African community via this base in Cape Coast, Ghana. And never complained ever. I'd go like, Brother Rock, we got the roll next month. What do we got to do so you'll be able to make that roll? He would tell me, we would do it, we'd be on the plane and we'd be there. Yeah. And when we get there, we would do the work. Both the political, we did a lot of political work, as well as cultural work and the economic work. Most of his life was teaching our people economics, teaching them how to organize as vendors, teaching them how to organize merchants associations, teaching them how to keep the money in the Black community from buying from Black vendors and Black store owners, teaching them to learn the economic system nationally and internationally and not be a victim of it, have them be predators on us, but that we take control of that economic where we live, you know? And he's very clear about expressing the relationship, as Dr. Jeffries taught all of us, between economics, politics, and culture. He was very clear. And economics was his piece. My piece was over in the political or cultural area. Dr. J was more in the political area. And Rock was like heavy into the economic area. Because we get heavy into the political area and the cultural area, and we forget you can't accomplish anything if we don't develop the economic area. And he helped a lot of organizations grow, a lot of individuals grow and learn how to set up their own small businesses, how to set up their own merchant businesses, moving between Brooklyn and Harlem, between festivals, between Philly and DC, between Newark, you know, and other cities. You know, so he wasn't like me, a name that everybody knew. But in many ways, he was greater than me because he had boots on the ground every day. He had the boots on the ground. He didn't have no problem helping the elderly, no matter who they were. He didn't have no problem helping the homeless, no matter who they were, what part of town, you know. Even when he didn't have anything for himself, he gave to others and never let us know when he didn't have anything. You know, totally committed to trying to move the family forward by teaching them the principles of economics. Yes. I remember him and I were discussing a couple of years ago when we learned that, more than a couple of years, that our people were spending as consumer dollars $1.3 trillion while we got all this unemployment of young Black men in the Black community. We got our young people going to prison.
$1 trillion nigga, that's what he used to say.
And so $1.3 trillion we're spending with the Arab merchants who dominate our community, especially New York. Almost every block, there's a store. Or the Asian merchants, Chinese or Koreans who control the dry cleaning business or control the washerette business. Other white communities, Italians controlling the pizza business, all in our neighborhood. The Jews controlling the larger department stores, all in our neighborhood. And we're walking around on the street corners looking for jobs. Because many times these people would hire predominantly, if not only, their national and their racial and ethnic groups in our community. And so we thought, well, what is this? And we're making money because many of us are civil servants. We did corner that civil servant job market. Many of us in the post office, sanitation, city hall. So we're making 1 point something trillion. But we're giving it to these other ethnic groups who do not invest their money in the Black community. They don't help open no daycare center in our community. They don't help develop any playgrounds in our community. They're not opening any credit union or banks in our community and becoming partners with us. They're doing what Malcolm X said. They're taking the money from our community, and when the sun go down, they take that money, according to Malcolm, to another part of town. And Rock and I would talk about this, and we said, well, the only way we can deal with this, we've got to teach our people that we must control economics, we must control politics, we must control culture where we live. We must control it. We must control land, we must control labor, and we must control the resources where we live. You see? And he dedicated his heart to that, to developing different economic pathways. You know, when he passed away, he was working on the Bitcoin business, trying to learn it. I remember when I told him, should I join this thing? He said, no, let me learn it. Let me master it first. And then I'll tell you when to come in. You know. So he made that kind of sacrifice. He got involved with people. He was trying to learn how the system worked and how we can go in and not get scammed and learn the business and develop it. You know.
I remember back in it was December 2020. I had just been back from Ghana for about 2 months, and I had got back, and everybody, I had been out the country about 8 months, so I get back, everybody's like, "Yeah, I'm investing in this," and my brother's deep, my brother's every day, and then I have a group called BQE, Brooklyn Queens Expressway group. All of us are from Brooklyn to Queens. And every day they building about, so I said, I gotta get, I started investing my little coins and everything. And Rock, I must have been working on 125th Street. He stopped by and he was like, yo man, just telling you, even if it's just $100, drop some money in Bitcoin. I know you savvy, you can figure it out. So I was like, all right, no doubt. So I was like already thinking in that way. And I dropped some coins in it, and started learning and, made some little profit here and there. And I was just, that's the type of brother he was, always encouraging you to learn new things, and sharing and get better. And he had a group on Telegram called Bitcoins and Blessings. And in that group, they primarily share information about, investing in cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some other coins he always would speak about. And that's how he was. That's what he did every day to empower his people. He was truly committed as a person should be to their community, to their race, to their kind, in every sense of the word. Every sense of the word. I mean, of course, brother Rock would always like to joke. He would love life. He had a big heart. He was a real burly guy, about 240, 6'2", 6'3", and just always shared that knowledge and love with the community. And like Professor is saying, his last piece, he wanted really for black people in this country and the world to get together, because he was a black nationalist, he was a Pan-Africanist, but to get together economically. He used to always say, Nova, the $1 trillion nigga, the $1 trillion nigga. That's what he would always say, about our people. We're spending money with other people, only rotating our dollar maybe 1.5 times before it goes out, where you have other communities that circulate their money, 10 times, 8 times, a dozen times, so on and so forth. And he was always concerned about that. And we often talked about that. We talked about history. We talked about culture. And Professor, I want you to contextualize and put Rock in the lineage of different street speakers and street educators from our tradition. People like Brother Big Man, who I've heard, I don't know if it's 100% true, that has passed away. Brother,
Yes,
brother.
sir. He did about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so that is true. It's confirmed. But Brother Sekou, who is still with us, but he's struggling with some, certain
Dementia
issues,
at this time.
dementia. And these people that might not necessarily have been speakers, but in their own right, they were professors, educators, and taught me a lot. I remember going to when Big Man had everything up on the gate. My dad would always go buy pamphlets, and they would trade books, and he would buy Dad's AIDS book, and blah 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 blah. Of course, Brother Say Cool. These are people that I've known my whole life, and Ronell is in that great legacy of brothers and sisters that did that work and to continue to educate us. So can you put them in context in that light?
Right. Well, you remember this is a brother who attended Hunter College. He was part of the student movement that brought Dr. John Henry Clark to power as the chair of the Black Studies Department at Hunter College, because he was a student activist on the campus. Very involved in the Black student movement at Hunter College and getting Marimba Ani into the leadership position there at Hunter College. And so in the community, there was there was two major forums before there was social media like we got it today. And one was called the First World Alliance, and the other was called First World Alliance was in Harlem, and the other was the Slave Theater in Brooklyn. And Rock with Brother Sekou and Brother Big Man, they were the three primary groups of merchants that was marketing this history to the general Black community. Because there was no Facebook then. There was no YouTube or Instagram. If you wanted to get the kind of information we're getting over the media now, you had to go to one of these three people, or maybe one other, Clemson Brown. But he was with those people who were selling and marketing the tapes, the videos, the books. Dr. Barr Clark, Dr. Ben, Dr. Hilliard, Dr. Carruthers, Dr. Jeffries, Dr. Maulana Karanga, Francis Cress Welsing, Shashi McIntyre. That body of literature that helped a lot of us become Black nationalists, a lot of us become Pan-Africanists and activists. Rock was one of the leading persons in our community, along with Dr. Jack Felder, Nova's father, who was bringing this history, because there was none of the social media existed. They were our social media. Not only were they selling you the books or the tapes, but when you stopped to buy something, you got a whole lecture for free on whatever material you were dealing with. You were kept up on what do you say, the thoughts of the day, the news of the day in the African world by Rock and these other brothers. And so we take them for granted. They're in every city in the country, but in New York, he was among the leaders of those people who was our social media before social media in the community. And even more than that, he was one of the brothers who would talk with the Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Dr. Jeffries, helped do security many times for these people when they came from out of town to speak at these forums. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Maulana Karanga, all the different, Asa Hilliard, Jacob Carruthers, who would come from Chicago, from Georgia, from California. He was among the group of brothers working with Dr. Jeffries and the Sons of Africa that would, when security was needed, step up with Brother X and Brother Big Man and Sekou, and we'd handle that. And so he was more than just he was a hell of an entrepreneur and trying to teach entrepreneurship, steer our people towards spending in the Black community, spending with Black business, banking with Black banks. He was at the heart of that movement in Harlem and Brooklyn. And so it makes him an extraordinary man, because we don't see people like him in the media every day, because he didn't have doctor behind his name and professor behind his name, but he had all of the elements that any of those who were a doctor or professor had, and he used it in the community every day. So that's why we're here, because we're trying to tell people a light that shined in the Black community has now dimmed itself for a moment in this world as it transitioned to another form of energy in another aspect of the universe that we live in. And we want to remember his work. learn from his work, remember his economic science, learn from his economic science. One of the biggest movements in the country now around economics is the happy movement. He's one of the founders of that movement. He initiated, along with Brother Taki, that movement, you know, and Kemetic, what is it, sacred science? I'm so on the sacred science.
The Kemetic science of prosperity.
Kemetic science of prosperity. That always get locked in my head.
You always,
Was,
yeah, yeah.
was the foundation he was moving on at first economically. And somehow him and Taki evolved that into looking at happy. Happy is a river in Africa. The world knows it as the Nile River. And we were using, let's use this river as a metaphor on how to develop economics. And people said, what does it mean? Well, this river was the foundation for the development of the civilization of Kemet. Well, what does that mean? What does that have to do with Harlem? Well, this river didn't start as a big river. This river started as little trickles coming out of Malawi, coming out of Congo, coming out of Lake Nyanza, coming out of Ethiopia, coming out of Uganda. And eventually, by the time it hit Sudan, you had this massive river that brought all of that black silt and mud each year that allowed the economic foundation from agriculture to develop in Nile Valley that produced the civilization we call ancient Egypt or ancient Kemet. So we said, let's take that concept and say, where's the happy river in Harlem? Where's the happy river in Syracuse? Here's the happy river in Detroit. Where is it? And so that's what Rock and them are working on, is showing people how to develop the happy river economically in Detroit, how to develop it in Harlem, how to develop it in Syracuse by bringing the small business tributaries together so that they become one organized happy river that would create the economic civilization we deserve. That's a powerful thing. And so that's why we want to let people know who this brother was and why we want to step forward and make sure his family don't have no burden in doing his formal going away ceremony and taking care of his two kids. And that's why we're here, to let you know our Rock.
I just wanted to say to the family that the links are in the description for the GoFundMe. You can see that and I will be putting them on my Facebook page and my Instagram page, but they're in the description of this video. And I just want to say condolences to the brother's family. I never knew him personally, but I remember seeing him several times. He was always standing close by Dr. Felder every time I was there, and Brother Nova and Professor Small and Brother Nova is my understanding that Brother Dawu has made his transcendence also?
As from the information that I have, yes. I didn't speak directly to his wife Cookie, but people in the community have, and she let the community know sometime where about in January or the beginning of February, Brother Dawood, our high priest, one of our high priests in African traditions, has transcended as well. Yeah, so that is confirmed. He has made his transition, and very much like Rock, he went in his sleep as well. He went in his sleep. And we remember these brothers because they're not the household names, but you have to understand, your home has to be built on something, your foundation. And as I'm sitting here in my basement, I can see my pillars that are upholding my house. You have cinder blocks on the outside, you have metal rods in the middle of this home holding it up. And brothers like Rock, Dawood, Brother Big Man, say cool, even though like Professor said, because they don't have the PhDs or the DRs, doctors in front of their names, they never got notoriety, but they're the pillars that we stand on. They laid a foundation. Today we have brothers like Willie, the information minister on 125th Street. I guess I would have to consider myself, because I'm still here doing the work that my father did on 125th Street as well. And even though I'm putting my hand in a lot of different things, and we're here because we care about our people. We're committed to seeing our condition change. And one thing that I know Rock realized, because I saw the love that he had for his children, is that we're links in a chain. We're a continuum, right? This won't stop with us. What Rock was doing with Taki and Professor Smalls and Dr. J with the Happy Movement is not going to stop. We will continue, right? We're all in this mighty, mighty continuum. And Rock was one of those links. And he definitely rose the vibration of many people that came into contact with him. I remember, he would have, boxes of like the ISIS papers, and that would just sell out in one day. That's a book from Francis Cress Welsing. If you haven't read it, you should read it. I remember when Sherazad Ali book came out, 1991, Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews in 1990s. These are works that he put in the hands of this community. And he even was selling books on campus with at the university he went to, Hunter, right? Selling to students, that were in the Black Studies department, students that were taking courses with Dr. Clark and Dr. Donna Richards, who has become Mama Marimba Ani. So, these are the things that we have to remember. It's not, we're always enthralled with the material. We're always enthralled with the name, but there's always people behind the name. There's always people that have undergirded these communities. And Brother Rock, as he is called Rock, was a granite, was a hard stone, like many of the pyramids bases are built on. Right? He was that energy, and we honor him, we love him, and we would love for you to to help us as his family. Professor, I've been calling us we have Beyond Burgers, we have Beyond Meat, Beyond Chicken, right? I'm calling us the Beyond Family Group, because even though we were not blood family, right, we are his family because we walked and lived with him, and we love that brother. And Professor got stories from Ghana to 125th to Detroit to LA. And, Professor, at this time, I would definitely love for you to give some insight, because, me and Rock are a little younger. So I got stories, but we running around Brooklyn and Manhattan and clubs and all this stuff. But Professor got some stories, that are really touching and will let you understand that, this brother's a real man, and he stood up and stood for his people, and how he stood with Professor Smalls. And I keep reminding Professor Smalls, you've gained more sons, even though this son has transitioned. We stand with you. So please give us one of those great rock stories that you have in your arsenal, my brother.
I remember we were in Ghana, and at nights when things settled at the hotel, I forgot what year, but Tariq Nasheed had just come up with the first, what's his movie system was?
Hidden Colors.
Hidden Colors. So he came up with the first Hidden Colors, and me and Rock sitting up there in the lobby watching it. And I saw some things. I thought, oh, they got that wrong. They got that wrong. So who are these people? Because remember, this type of agenda had just begun. Social media wasn't big time yet. And he said, oh, this brother named Tariq Nasheed, man, it's the hottest thing out there. Hidden Colors, just hit the ground. Bam, bam, bam. So I said, we call this brother, because I got to tell him he needed to tell these, and I mentioned who the persons were, that they had the information wrong. You know how you say that stuff, right? By the time we got back to New York, Tariq Nasheed was calling my house, right? Because Rock gets in touch with him. And so he has his partner call. And then he says, well, if you think that was wrong, why don't you fly out to LA? We'll fly you out to LA. And I said, yeah, but I can't roll unless Brother Rock rolls. So, well, we'll fly you and Brother Rock out to LA. And we went out and we did that piece for Hidden Colors 2. It was hotter than Hidden Colors 1. And while we were out on the coast, we actually rented a car in LA, and you have no idea the distance. And we drove 13 or 14 hours to my brother's home in Northern California, near the Oregon border, near Medford, up in the mountains. And I mean up in the mountains, Mount Shasta. And then on the way back down, we stopped and visit the home of Dr. Wade Nobles down in Oakland. And so we just did stuff that was out of the box. You know, we didn't even have a lot of money either. We was like, okay, we got a budget because we got to eat, we got to get gas, we got to. But when you want somebody to roll with you on a journey, that was the brother. You know, when I told my brother the other day of his passing, he knew that we had lost a family member, you know, and his sons all called me since, oh, we heard the brother Rock, you know, out of Sacramento, they would call it. Because whoever Rock touched, if it's 5 minutes, people didn't forget him. You know, people did not forget this brother. In Ghana, we kind of like, to come in there and take a raggedy, beat down hotel that was closed, needed painting, needed furniture. And in a few months, we had to send our spillovers to other hotels, you know, because it was that kind of energy he helped generate it. There was one brother named, and he knew he walked in our town, the next minute, he knew all the gangsters in town, all the street brothers. Dude roll up to the hotel with his boy. Look, where y'all going? Come see Brother Rock. Well, who are you? I'm Brother Black. This is down in Cape Coast. Oh, you Brother Black? See, I'm Black. I met Rock over on the da-da-da-da-da. And Rock be rolling, yo, Black, what's up, sup? And Black become the guy that protects us in the street of that city because we knew nothing about that city, you know. Same thing in the crowd. He told me, Prop, I'm gonna go hang out over at Labate tonight or something. You ain't gonna hang out without me. I said, I'm going with my boy. Who's your boy? I said, Brain. You know, Brain got the street. You know? And when I called Brain the other day, he just had a broken leg and he just had to hang up the phone. So let me call you back in another day, brother. Because he couldn't believe
I know Bray. Oh
You
my
know,
God.
Brain? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brain and Rock was never like this. You know,
Wow.
when you want something to know something about the streets in Accra, you go to Brain, you know.
Yeah.
Somehow Rock would walk in the street to the market or something. When he came back, he'd meet Deuce. And these be significant peoples, you know what I'm saying? He had that kind of personality. He was a man of the community, whatever African community he went into in the world. And the people loved him. The kings loved him. The brother we bought the hotel from, Nana Oku, he was a king. He was the son of Henny of the Cape Coast throne. But to him, Rock was his son. If I showed up there without Rock, you hear that big voice. Well, where's Rock? Why isn't Rock with you? Well, you need to call him. Tell him you need to get on a plane. Come on over here. You know, they just loved this brother, you know. And when Nana passed, it broke his heart. He passed on the 19th. And I went to that funeral to represent us. Another one of the kings in the Eastern region, when I called him and tell him, he had to hang up the phone because he looked at Locke as his son. That's not a Kwabena and Ketsia, Abesukado, you know. And so what was Brother Rock's age? 55? He just turned 55?
He was 53. He was the same age as Baba.
53.
He was born in 68.
Yeah, the brother in Ghana was 55.
Mm-hmm.
The heart of this man and the dedication of this man, so quietly, he was a big, quiet dude until he laughed. Now, he had one of those roaring, big laugh. But he just did things, always doing stuff, always bringing new ideas to the merchants, bringing new ideas to the streets. He was a hell of a merchant, like that happy hat. If you see the happy sweatshirts, somebody said, we need a t-shirt. The next morning, he had it. We need sweatshirts. The next morning, he had it, had the design, had it printed, had it on the street, on the table, ready to roll. That's the way Rock was. You know, he was business, but he had this human, African, spiritual kindness. Yet he took no prisoners if you did him wrong. And I was telling people the other day, there was a cab driver who we knew, and every time we go to Ghana, we take this particular cab driver. And he always upped the price a little bit. But me, you know, the older guy was, that's all right. He needs a little money. Well, he upped it a little bit too much one day. And Rock said, you can't charge Prof like that. And the guy go, yada, yada, yada. Next thing I know, I'm picking the dude up off the ground. I didn't even see I didn't even see the fist. I just saw a shadow go past me, and the dude is like, "Ow!" I go, "Oh my God! Did I kill the dude before the jail?" But no, you didn't cross him, because if he treats you right, he'd take care of you. But if you try to play him, you were playing the wrong brother. Then he was Harlem, 100%. You didn't play him, because he'd give you his heart, but he didn't want to be played. You know. This is Nova is holding up one of his pieces. Show the whole thing, Nova.
It's a jacket, Sankofa, to go back and fetch it. That's that's one of his companies there, HMCCC.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the type of stuff that Professor was talking about. That he was always innovating, thinking outside of the box, and
Right. And so the key thing is that there have been so many men like this brother who've passed into oblivion. Nobody raised them up. We don't want to let that happen to Rock. We want the people to know there was a teacher in the community that cared about you, and he taught you, and he brought you the wisdom of other teachers. And if there was a conference anywhere in DC and Detroit, anywhere from ASCAC, he'd be there. He'd be there, because we would bend together. We always shared the same bending table wherever we went. I would be selling mudcloth, and he'd be selling DVDs and books. And everybody knew that Brother Rock's here. And he knew all of the elders, Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, Dr. Jeffries, not just from a distance. He was like a son to them, because he helped them, assisted them, aided them when they needed it. And he did that for elders whose names we don't know. That was just the way Rock was. So we want to tell our family outside, please contribute to the GoFund and to the Telegraph. Let us help the family not have a burden in doing the ceremony, the going home ceremony for this brother. Let's put something in the hand of his 2 children, especially the one that's in college today, and make sure he can take care of his college fees, at least for this semester. So, and remember Brother Rock as a symbol of how to be a good soldier, of how to be a good comrade, of how to be a good family member. Because that's really what this is all about. We always say Africa is the communal, collective, and the cooperative family. So we have to, when the opportunities call, behave in a communal, collective, and cooperative way. $5, $1, $10, $20, if you can do more, 30, 40, 100, put it into the fund. Let's let the family know we appreciate the sacrifice they made. We appreciate the sacrifice that this beautiful brother made. And we're not going to let them have a burden to take care of their business on this occasion, which is very sad for them, very painful for them. And so we're going to share some of that sadness. We're going to share some of that pain for them by helping to go to the GoFundMe and help to go to the Telegraph. And so if one of you can announce it again, and let the people know where it is. So
Baba said,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's in the family. If you look below this video in the description, both of those links are in there. And when this is over, I'll be putting it on Facebook and my Instagram page. But if you go on the description of this video, you will find both. All you got to do is click, and it'll take you straight there.
Professor's muted.
Yeah, just want to thank Bubba and let him know that we really appreciate him for the opportunity to make this call to the community and to share Rock with the community. And I know many people probably recognize his face, because if you were anywhere in Brooklyn or any festival where something was happening, Rock is there. If you were on 125th Street, you would have encountered Rock through the years, set up near Impedicio, around the corner, or set up near Dr. Felder, or down the street. But he was always there somewhere,
tell the family the Telegram group is an organizing principle, and I wanted to do it so that we can share information on him in this critical time as a family, like sharing the link for the GoFundMe, but also I asked, I think we're up to about 40 members now that joined, to share their stories if they personally knew Rock or had an encounter with him, right? If they had pictures with him or videos of him. There's a beautiful video if you look up Rock and Professor Smalls that they did talking about Happy together. And then you have videos with him and Taki Grant from Happy. And also I want this group that Telegram group to live on beyond Ronell. I wanted to, exemplify us sticking together as a people, working together socially, politically, and most certainly economically, and building the futures that we want. That's why I asked, the family, and I asked Professor Smalls to advertise that group, because his Bitcoins and blessings, I guess we're not going to be able to, get into that group. The Men of Respect will go on. That's on Facebook. If you Google that, Men and Women of Respect, Facebook, you should find it. Without an admin, I think that can exist, but his Telegram group probably, because he was the only person that was the administrator. So this group will be a way for us to keep organizing in that grassroots way that Brother Rock would have wanted us to. So please join. Please donate, as Professor said. If it's $5, $10, $1, if you can do 50, 100, or so on and so forth. And I want to say a lot of people that were on the live that we did yesterday, they people were very happy to donate, and we want to say thank you to anybody that has helped us so far. This is a difficult time for all of us, because Professor has lost his son. I've lost my big brother, but this is what we're supposed to be doing as African people. Some people were saying in the community, "Oh, we heard he didn't have insurance," and so on and so forth. And I just confronted him, and I said, "Listen, we don't know if he had insurance or not at this point. We don't care about that. We're living in the African tradition, and we're taking care of our family member. And if you're not about doing that, and you're talking about this Coco Jari, jibba jibba jabba, how you want to say it, gossip, we don't do that in our community. We uplift each other, we raise each other, and that's what we about, brothers and sisters." And I just want to say thank you. And I once again, Baba, I asked you, I think just last night, you texted me this morning, and we put all of this together, and this video will live in eternity on YouTube. And just want to say thank you again. Baba TV, fire every time. You are golden. You from Chocolate City. We love Chocolate City, and we love you, brother. So thank you for this opportunity to raise up this mighty new ancestor. We love you, Baba Rock. We love you, Nana Kofi. We love you, Ronell Rockwell. You're a great man, and you will not be forgotten. We shall continue in your legacy and your light, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Small. Thank you, Brother Nova, for coming on the Lil Baba TV. And that's what I'm here for. This is your house. It's not mine. So you don't ask me anything, Brother Nova. You tell me I need to get on there, and Baba will get on his job. I'm your humble servant. On that note, I want to take us on out of here with our brother, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Just an excerpt from our brother.
Had me a dipple I smoked for 2 left of tobacco. I've been like that with her. Harriet Tubman up, I would have been one of the conductors on the underground. Alright, when you got away from the plantation, if you look like you wanted to go back to the white man, they say Harriet would pull her pistol out on you. I would have had 2 pistols. I would have pulled both of them and cut them on you now all day, Bubba. You ain't going back to the white man. You either gonna be free or we gonna free you right here, big Bubba. You ain't going back. I would have been with Tucson Overture. I would have been with Gasoline the Ferocious. I would have been with Denmark Visa. Yeah, I would have been with Nat Turner. Oh yeah, I would have been with Nat Turner. I wish and hope you would have been with him too. Me and you and Nat. Going from plantation to plantation, cutting white throats and killing white folks. Me and you and Nat. Don't you know if Nat Turner would have been successful, we would be free today? Huh? I would have been with Nat. I had a sharp blade. Man, my blade would have been sharp. And I had an axe. Catch it too. Yes, I would have. Whatever Nat missed, I would have swung with my axe. Man, Nat, you ain't scared of Nat, are you? We need some Nat Turners in Bed. We need some Nat Turners in Bed-Stuy. We need some Nat Turners all over Brooklyn and Bronx and Queens and Long Island and Harlem, all over America. Where are the Nat Turners up in there?
Thank you for tuning in, family, and we out.